Mr. Facemeyer, are you ready on behalf of the defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Watabe, on behalf of the state?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I have read the pre-sentence report that was filed. There were numerous victim impact statements were filed. Of course, I've read those. There was 2 character letters, I believe, that were filed on behalf of Ms. Grist. I've read those as well. But any errors, mistakes, or admissions you need to bring to my attention with the pre-sentence report, Mr. Facemeyer?
So, Your Honor, I do have one more character letter. I've provided a view for the prosecutors to have it, and I have a hard copy for the court.
Hand it to me, please. That's fine. Thank you. All right, I read that letter as well. Any mistakes with the pre-sentence report that you need to bring to my attention?
Your Honor, I've spoken with my client about the pre-sentence report. She's had an opportunity to review it along with the letters that have been provided associated with it. And she has not requested any changes from that pre-sentence report. Is that accurate? Excuse me. There.
The classes that I took in.
Yeah, the report itself.
Oh, no, it's good. I accept it as presented.
So we're good to move forward on the pre-sentence report.
Any mistakes or errors or omissions from the state's perspective?
Not that I observed, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Facemeyer, what else would you like me to know or to take into account?
I'm sorry, Judge.
Anything else you wish me to know? What else would you like me to know?
Am I okay here, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, Dana Facemeyer for the defendant, Tracey Grist. Judge, I've reviewed the pre-sentence report, as has my client. My client, Your Honor, wants to know that the pre-sentence report does not indicate some of the things that she's done while at the Utah County Jail, which has been a substantial amount of time. She attempted to enroll in the RISE program, but the RISE, because of her charge, would not let her enroll, but she did attempt to do that. She also attempted, Your Honor, throughout her time at the Utah County Jail to engage herself in as many opportunities, including EDOVO, which is an educational vocational kind of opportunity. It's a 6 or 8.
No, those are small classes. The other one is an 8-week class.
Gotcha. So she did engage in all of those, Your Honor, and she also engaged in an 8-week class to continue and help her throughout this case to provide any assistance that would be beneficial for her just as a person while engaged at the Utah County Jail. She did not just sit on her laurels and just let time lapse. She was motivated and proceeded with any opportunities provided. Some were declined because of her charge, but she still did try to effectuate those opportunities that she did. She didn't get the certificates that were available, but she did take the coursework and the time to learn about such things and move forward in that direction. I hope the court understands what I'm trying to explain to you.
I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, we're here post-trial. The charges that my client was found guilty was criminal conspiracy, a 2nd degree, murder, a 1st degree, obstruction, a 1st degree, domestic in front of a child, 3rd degree, 2 counts. Your Honor, the matrix on this case has her at 252 months. I think given all the circumstances, this court knows the facts of the case as has been presented both by my client and also by the prosecution and also the verdict by the jury. And so we would submit on that matrix request, Your Honor, ask that all counts to be sentenced concurrent with one another. And my client is 61 years old now, Your Honor, just turned 61 a couple weeks ago. And so we would ask for a concurrent sentence, Judge. Any questions, Your Honor?
No, thank you, Mr. Facemeyer. Mr. Watabe.
Your Honor, would the court be willing to hear from several victim representatives?
Well, I think like we've done in the past, I'm willing to hear from the victim's mother and I think one other representative, which is the brother. I've read the other reports.
Okay,
So we'll do it the same way.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, I assume that that's what you were planning on again today,
yes, sure.
of course. Who do you want to have come forward first?
I think we have Mark Restelli on first one.
Right. Sir, if you'll come forward, I know we've met, but please give us your name again so the record is clear.
Yeah, too many times. My name is Jonathan Mark Restelli. You need me to spell it?
No, unfortunately, I've learned it very well.
Your Honor, I'd like to begin with thanking the court, law enforcement, and everyone who's worked tirelessly to make sure justice was served for what was done to my brother. My name is Jonathan Mark Restelli. I go by Mark. I'm the youngest of three brothers, known growing up as the Restelli boys. Paul is the oldest, and Matt is our middle brother. Today is the third time I stand before this court to deliver a victim's impact statement for my brother, Matthew Clark Restelli. Just like the first two times, I don't want to be here, but I have to be, because Matt no longer has a voice. It was permanently silenced. At Catherine's sentencing, I talked about the Black Widow that trapped my brother in a web of lies and abuse, the Black Widow that slowly injected venom and devoured my brother. At Kevin's sentencing, I talked about brotherhood and betrayal. Matt welcomed Kevin into his family as a brother, and Kevin repaid that trust by shooting him in the back. Today, I want to talk about the source, the root of the poisonous tree, the literal elephant in the room, the demon sitting before this court, the mastermind. But before I get there, let's talk about the fallout. Catherine, Tracey's daughter, pled guilty to murder and testified against you, Tracey, and Kevin. Kevin, Tracey's son, was convicted of murder. And today, Tracey Grist stands before this court convicted of murder. 3 convictions from one man's brutal murder. But that's only the beginning of the fallout. My mother, Diane, buried her son. Paul and I lost our brother. Lucas lost the father that he talked to every day. And then there are the children, Cheyenne and Steele, and Lucas. 3 children who should have had decades to build memories and learn from their father. A father to teach them how to fish, to teach them how to build things, to teach them how to drive, to walk beside them through life's biggest moments. Tracey, you stole that from them. You stole every birthday, every Christmas morning, every camping trip, every fishing trip, every game, every graduation, every father-daughter dance, every hug, every I love you. A grandmother is supposed to protect their grandchildren. Tracey, you destroyed your grandchildren's potential future. But before I talk about you, I want to talk about Matt. Because for weeks, I sat in this courtroom and felt like my brother was the one on trial. I listened to people who twisted who he was. I listened to lies. I listened to stories that tried to make a good man responsible for his own murder. I listened while a man could no longer defend himself, was being attacked by the very people who betrayed him. The Matt I knew wasn't that man. The Matt I knew was kind and loving. Matt loved to build. Matt loved to create. Matt loved the mountains. Matt loved fishing. Matt loved off-roading. He loved fixing things. If something was broken, he found a way to make it work. If someone needed help, he showed up. He was an excellent mechanic with a mind that could solve almost any problem. He was the kind of father that wanted to teach his children everything he knew. The kind of son who was there for his family, especially his mom. The kind of friend who would drop everything if you needed him. Above all else, Matt was loyal. He was loyal to his family. He was loyal to his wife, Catherine, even after she cheated on him several times. He was loyal to the people he loved. Maybe that was Matt's greatest flaw. He believed people when they told him they loved him. He believed Catherine on the final phone call when she said, "I love you too," as he unknowingly drove to his execution, orchestrated by you, Tracey Grist. He believed family meant something. He believed loyalty would be returned with loyalty. He believed the people closest to him would protect him, just as he protected them. Unfortunately, he was wrong. Matt trusted and gave his loyalty to the wrong people, and that loyalty cost him his life. Tracey, the first time I met you was Matt and Catherine's wedding. The first words you said to me before even introducing yourself were, "You know Katie's not a bad person." I've thought about these words for years because after this murder, I don't think the question was ever whether Katie was a bad person. We know she is. She pled guilty to murdering her husband. The question is, where did she learn it? While my brother's life was being dissected in this courtroom, very little was said about Tracey. Very little was said about the lifetime of destruction that came before this murder. The lies, the manipulation, the stealing, the exploiting, the using of friends, the using of family. The fact that you, Tracey, are a prostitute for a living was off limits to talk about during this trial, but nothing was off limits to talk about for my brother. In fact, the day you got arrested for Matt's murder, you were with a John in your so-called massage studio. You also got charged with prostitution that day. This was one of the primary reasons that Matt didn't like you and that you two didn't get along, because Matt could see who you truly are and the set of drastically flawed morals that you live your life by. Matt figured this all out on the first day after his wedding to your daughter, when the wedding gift money that you were in control of went missing. Tracey, you stole from your daughter and your brand new son-in-law on their wedding day. That is just low. This was just hours after you said to me, "Katie's not a bad person." In comparison to you, I could see how you might think that's true. It's just mind-blowing. At Catherine's sentencing, I talked about how there was a clear pattern of behavior that eventually led to my brother's murder. And it's the same for Tracey. In fact, she learned it from you. And I'm sure that this has been the theme of your life because I have a few examples. Tracey, you lied about abuse so you could secure custody of your children from your ex-husbands. You stole $10,000 of payroll from your ex-husband's truck. You stole $20,000 and a gun from your best friend, Terry Lynn, all while prostituting yourselves for Johns on a daily basis. Now that it's all in the open, I'm going to read some direct quotes from your daughter, Tara Lynn, in a message she wrote to you. She wrote, "You planned somebody's murder. Katie and Kevin would have never come up with this on their own." She wrote, "You've used and abused almost every single person you've known." And perhaps the line that struck me the most, she wrote, "I thought we were safe because we are your kids. I am so sad that I was wrong." Those are not my words. Those are your daughter, Tara Lynn's words. Now she sees exactly what Matt saw for years. A woman who poisons everything she touches, a woman who creates chaos and then calls herself a victim, a woman who spent a lifetime controlling, lying, exploiting, manipulating, and using people until one final lie became murder. One lie at a time. That is your own daughter's description. One lie at a time. And eventually, those lies ended up with my brother being shot in the back, directly below where his children are sleeping. The damage didn't end with Matt. Kelly and I have already started living the future that was stolen from him. Our home is different. Our family is different. Our children's lives are different. We now have 4 kids under one roof because Matt can no longer raise 2 of his own. We have become the people they cry to, the people they lean on, the people who answer impossible questions, the people that have to explain why their dad isn't coming home and why their mom, their uncle, and their grandmother are in prison. They know what you did. That's right, Tracey. They know. They found out at school. Other kids talking about what Kevin did, saying things no child should ever have to hear about their father, about how Kevin shot him. When they came home confused and trying to make sense of it, I remember Cheyenne saying, Kevin, I only know Uncle Kevin, and he would never hurt my dad. After hearing that, I had to tell them the truth, that Kevin shot their father in the back and killed him, and that their grandmother, Tracey, was the one who planned it all. They are 5 and 8 years old. You stole a lifetime of memories from them and placed a scarlet letter on their back that will follow them the rest of their lives. Last year, I took Cheyenne to the father-daughter dance. I took her again this year. I'll take her next year and the year after that. Someday, I'll be the one that walks her down the aisle and teaches her to love and care for her husband, unlike her arachnid mother and her demon grandmother. But every one of those moments that I step in for should belong to Matt. You stole that from Matt, Cheyenne, Steele, Lucas, and countless others. No matter how much Kelly and I give these kids, we cannot give them their father back. We cannot give them the same love that Matt would have for them. This is what you stole from them, Tracey. You didn't just murder my brother. You changed the course of 2 families and countless other people forever. You took a father from his children. You took a son from his mother. You took a brother from Paul and I. At Catherine's sentencing, I called your family a family of black widows. At Kevin's sentencing, I called you poisoned apples from the same tree. Now I understand something else. Black widows don't create themselves. Poison doesn't appear out of nowhere. It comes from somewhere. And that somewhere is the demon sitting before this court. So let me be clear. There is no forgiveness, Tracey. There is no excuse. There is no alternate version of events. 3 people were convicted, and several more of your children are lucky that they weren't charged with this murder as well, because you used everyone around you as tools, and one good man had to pay the price. In the name of my brother, Matthew Clark Restelli, a devout father, a loyal brother, and my best friend, a man who would have done anything for his family, I ask the court to impose the maximum sentence possible. Tracey is a demon who poisoned her own family, and through them, she murdered mine. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Restelli. Mr. Watabe.
State would have Diane Restelli speak.
I know we've met several times. If you'd once again put your name on the record so it's clear, please.
Okay, I'm Diane Restelli,
Thank you.
mother of Matt Restelli. This is my last of 3 victim impact statements that I will give to the court today. I want to thank you, Judge Roger Griffin, the prosecution team, the victim coordinator, their support staff, the American Port Police Department, Detective Nordine, and other court members. The timely and due diligent effort by all of you in bringing this terrible case to closure was graciously welcomed. Thank you all. Why I'm really here today is to give my victim impact statement, to express my thoughts to you, Tracey Grist, regarding the death of my son, Matt Restelli. Tracey, on July 12, 2024, in a conspiracy plan, with the assistance of your daughter Kate and son Kevin, as well as other family members, my son was lured to your home in American Fork, Utah, where you, Kevin, and Kate savagely carried out the plan to murder my son. You believe the lies that your daughter Kate and other involved family members falsely generated about Matt. Matt was not perfect, I do know that. But you are aware of the type of person Kate could be: lying, lazy, jealous, easily angered, and drug intoxicated. Yet you still carried out this conspiracy plan in the hopes of eliminating Matt to assist you in avoiding custody issues for Kate, as deducted from these trials and past experience. Tracey, you have been very vocal in wanting to eliminate Matt by your own ongoing threats to him. Matt was the protector of his family, and you and your daughter Kate were the instigators in causing trouble. Matt only wanted to keep his family safe from your conniving and evil ways. He was so right in this regard, and it cost him his life. Kate always felt that she did not get the attention that she needed from you, Tracey. She longed to belong and feel that she mattered, not be overlooked. You did not give her what she needed, but kept pulling her back into your clutches and spewing hatred for Matt. Every time you visited their home, you caused trouble. Maybe the fact that you have had several divorces states the obvious. Mixing in all of this, you were a hindrance to their marriage. Tracey, you know that in a heartbeat, Kate could change the atmosphere in the room and would put everyone on notice to watch out. I am sure you witnessed this in your home too many times to count before Matt's murder. Still, you continued to carry out your plan, not considering what Kate was telling you to get your attention. Was it the truth or the version that you wanted to hear? Matt knew who you really were: a thief, a liar, a splitter, a backstabber, an illegal business operator, to name a few of your adverse qualities. The past has now caught up with you, and now you will serve the consequences. Tracey, you betrayed me as a mother. In the past, we have spoken and shared insights about the family. Yet you have lied to me many times about your involvement before and after this murderous act. I do not think that you have a fully functional conscience, and you are morally bankrupt. This is evident by your calloused actions. You lied repeatedly to me. Yes, you have betrayed me as a mother to mother. How despicable and heartless you have been to me. You will never know how much hurt you have caused. Just this past week, Cheyenne, now 8 years old, said she does not remember what her mother looked like and asked to see pictures of her. How painful this may be for her, her brother Steele, now 5 years old, to have lost their father, mother, home, family, friends, school, and toys. They had to start anew because of your horrific action to my family and yours. You are a selfish individual to have sacrificed your family and mine. I can only imagine what was going on through Matt's mind as your son Kevin, who you convinced to do this heinous act and violently shoot him 7 times, mostly in the back. I think you found pleasure in this act and commended yourself as a job completed. You took away the children's father, an honest, respectful, hardworking, and truthful man, qualities of which you are not, Tracey. You lied to me so many times before and after the shooting. You have a lot of repentance to do, both here on earth and spiritually. That's if you have a heart and a religious foundation to pull from. How low you have become to swap your family to take the life of a good man. Kate mistreated both Matt and his son Lucas, who is now 21 years old, and you know that to be true for Lucas. You have witnessed this fact. As far as Matt, Kate kept all that information from you. Lucas is still trying to manage the aftermath of losing his dad and best friend. He's been on a free fall of emotions since then, and we are the ones picking up the pieces to assist him. You just believed the lies and wanted to eliminate the only person who truly knew who you were and would not bow down to your tricks and devious behavior. Matt knew you were not to be trusted early on, as he discovered that you stole money from their wedding gifts, amongst other times too. Matt was aware of your evil, conniving ways, and he wanted no part of it to protect his family. Tracey, you lured him in anyway. Even your first husband, Stanley Ellis, days after Matt's death, called me and attested to your evil qualities. It did not surprise him that you were capable of such an act. Tracey, you don't know me and you don't know my family. The hurt you have given me is everlasting. Our family is changed forever in additional duties that a father, Matt, and a mother, Kate, should be doing. There are children at stake here, and you acted with no regard to their future with or without their mother and father. You did not care about the grandkids, how heartless you had become to put the grandkids in jeopardy. None of your involved family members have the quality worthy of raising these children, since so many of your children, 4 out of 7, were involved in the act to assist in eliminating Matt, whether they knew of the outcome or not, but they assisted. Tracey, how did you turn so evil? What kind of family were you raised in? It certainly was not a loving, caring, truthful, respectful, and spiritually grounded to protect human life. Tracey, you did not know how hard Matt worked to support his family. Your daughter, Kate, sucked the life out of Matt. And yet he still persevered because he loved his family and he wanted it all to work out. You were not a comfort to the family, but an adversary. You wanted to hear the lies and stories concocted by Kate, and some of them as noted in Discord group, the social media group, in her everyday drug-induced high to get your attention. You do not know or took how much time it took, and you don't even know Matt's real qualities. It doesn't matter anymore because you'll never know him. You were so blinded by Kate's and your daughter's lies, even they don't know the truth, but I do. Matt protected and supported Kate all the way to a fault, but now we know Kate's true wish was to eliminate Matt, find another man or men to support her, to work the guy financially dry, and keep the 2 younger children as the pawn for county sustenance and child support. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Tracey, does that sound familiar to you? Tracey, I do not know, nor do you know me. We were only acquaintances, but what I have been told directly by your family, as quoted by Tara Lynn, and this just happened recently, that you lied on the witness stand profusely, and that you, Tracey, tried to throw blame anywhere she thought it would stick. Tara Lynn continues to share via text hours, just hours after we returned from your trial, and she said about you, justice finally caught up with Tracey, and she's getting what she deserves. These are the text statements to myself and Mark from your daughter, Tara Lynn. Matt knew the truth all along and took a stand about the truth about you, Tracey. Your family failed to confront you with your lies and deceit of what you really did for a living and where the fund money came from. You bribed them to continue your hold on them. They were blinded by it all. It's not my place to judge you, nor should you have judged Matt, but I can condemn the actions that have affected my family. You made a horrendous mistake killing Matt. Everyone in your family should know that you have an evil streak. I fear that the apple does not far from the tree when it comes to your family members, and I am seeing the evidence of this. You sacrificed your own children, Kate, Kevin, and you allowed Carolyn and Rachel to participate as well. What mother does this to her children, sending them to perform an evil act? You and your involved family just covered up the murder by supporting the evil connection among the family members. Carolyn, your daughter, concocted emails for Kate to send to me, controlling the dialogue and making the cover-up after Matt's death. This was not just you murdering Matt. With the assistance of your 4 children, this plan worked. Your family has provided little or no support since Matt's death. They too have been heartless. I cannot imagine how Matt must have felt when the bullets were piercing into him and he felt extreme pain. I shudder the fact that he was hurt, dying, and scared. Your family provided no assistance at the scene and watched him die. How heartless and evil this act has been. You tracked him like an animal. You, Rachel, Tara Lynn, and Kevin tracked him to eliminate Matt, to save another heartless woman, Kate, who you knew was a whirlwind of chaos. Matt came to American Fort not knowing what was ahead of him. He came with a loving heart and to bring his family back home. You made the decision to kill him. Now you'll be in prison for a very long time, and whatever time you spend will never replace the residual damage that you have given to all of us. I doubt that you recognize this fact. It will be our cross to bear, and I will do it willingly to protect the children, provide a loving, healthy, and quality future for them. Just this past week, Shai had a lesson in gymnastics. And recently, too, both were in pool activities, both Cheyenne and Steele. And yes, they are all pool safe, thanks to Uncle Mark and Aunt Kelly, and with many more summer camp activities already scheduled for them. It is now our duty to protect the children and ourselves from the abuse your family members have perpetrated. I only wish I could have protected Matt from the evil that he was thrown into. I know his lament and his struggles since he spoke to me almost every night. He always held your daughter Kate in good light, despite what we all know she could be. He never name-called her or belittled her like your family did in public. I know he was pushed to the brink by Kate, and his frustration was evident by the end of days. Kate did not care about Matt because she had already had an affair prior to coming to American Fork, and after she got here, she was dating men otherwise since then, even though she was still married to Matt. Matt was always faithful to Kate, and as evidence that Kate was not. Your daughter Kate betrayed me and now you. I only wish I could have prevented your final act of cruelty to Matt, me, and my family when you violently conspired to take his life. You have wounded my emotional heart, rocked it to the core, and now we're trying to pick up the pieces you have left behind with having no thought of the lasting damage that you have caused. We love the children and we'll oversee their health and well-being without their mom and dad. Tracey, like Matt, I've done nothing to you to deserve this extreme level of hurt. I have endured much in my career as a healthcare professional, but nothing has prepared me for this horrific journey that is underway. I grieve every day for the loss of Matt and the ongoing change we are all undertaking in raising Matt's children. You have no idea what it takes to deeply care for another, or you wouldn't have done this heinous act. Murdering my son was cold-blooded, for which you tried to cover up, lie about, and I have no words of remorse for you. This is your pattern. I hope the court maximizes all of your charges and sentencing so that Matt's children can grow up without your evil influence. Matt would want his children to have a happy, normal childhood among family members who love them. Their lives will be filled with joy, laughter, caring, learning, and respect for family and the legacy of their father. We will make a difference because we care and love them. We are protecting them so that they will know what family is built on: love, respect, hard work, support, and a commitment to shared family values and goals. Tracey, my family will accomplish this without you or any of your involved family members. I will never get to hear Matt's voice again or get his hugs. Tracey, you stripped me of Matt's presence. Matt's children will never experience the support of their father as they grow into adulthood. Still now 5 years old, has little or no memory of his father because he was just over 3 years old when his father was murdered by you. How unfair this is to Steele. The children always ask me weekly to tell them stories about their father, and I do. You have put my family on a roller coaster ride that no one should be on. The verdict is out. Your actions are not mistaken. Tracey, you are guilty of multiple offenses in the murder of Matt, and now you must serve the consequences. Tracey, you took a good man, Matt. You were blinded by the lies, and you left a hole in our hearts and daily lives. You have no idea the anguish you have caused by his senseless death that will echo in the lives of our family for generations to come. The ending of this saga is so very sad. Tracey, we are all wounded by your aggressive act of cruelty. However, the family will stand strong. We will get the job done, just like Matt would have done in protecting and providing for his children. I am sure Matt is pleased that we are caring for his children during these unspeakable times because we cherish and respect the word family, not unlike your family, Tracey, who you sacrificed for the sake of eliminating the truth. You made this happen, and now you must pay for this evil act, an action that should never have happened in the first place had you been grounded in family values and caring for human life. Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Watabe, in your presentation, address the issue of restitution, and so that the record is clear and so that Mr. Facemar has an opportunity to respond if he disagrees. For each count, make sure you indicate which you believe the accurate sentence that I can impose.
Sorry, I didn't pull that up.
I mean, I've made notes to that, but I want to make sure we're all on the same page.
As far as the restitution, I believe this statute, has like a proximity or a nexus to the events that occurred. I think that the expenses for moving the children would fall under that nexus, and so I think the $2,500 would be warranted here, as well as obviously the funeral expenses of the $7,200 as well.
So the total of 9,700, correct?
Yeah, and I'd also ask just to leave it open as well, should there be any kind of other costs that we haven't foreseen at this point, whether that be therapy or other things.
Right. Thank you. Mr. Facemar, does your client stipulate to that restitution amount joint and several, or do we need to have a hearing on this?
Joint and several, Judge.
Joint and several, thank you.
I'd just like to add a few words, Your Honor.
Yeah, no, when you add those words, make sure you also, for each count, provide to me the presumptive sentence. I want to make sure I have it correct as well, and give Mr. Facemar an opportunity to respond if you believe it's an incorrect statement.
Okay. As to the murder of Matthew Restelli, that's a first-degree felony. I believe that is 15 years to life. As to the conspiracy to commit murder, I believe that's a 1 to 15. And then the obstruction of justice is a 1 to 15, and the domestic violence in the presence of a child is 0 to 5 on each count.
Do you concur with that, Mr. Facemar?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. What else would you like me to know?
Your Honor, I mean, this really is a senseless murder. It should never have occurred. Seems pretty clear it was actually never really about divorce. Both Kate and Kevin went to Tracey separately, questioning whether they should do this, and expressed hesitancy to her. And she told each of them separately that she didn't care, that she was going to go ahead and do it anyways. It's pretty clear she didn't care about what happened to Matt. She didn't care about what happened to Matt's kids, her grandkids. She didn't care or think about what possibly might even happen to Kate and Kevin. It was always only about Tracey. There was no other reason for this murder other than Tracey's sole desire to commit a murder. And when you think about what Tracey put Matt through, luring him into the house, Matthew getting shot as he enters the house, and Tracey and Kevin watching Matt die on the floor, crying out in pain as he bleeds to death with his children just feet from where he is. And then when she's sure that Matthew's dead, she plants a knife in his hand, and then she calls the police. She lies to them when she said Matt brought a knife into the house. She lies when she said Matt needs an ambulance. And she lies when she says Matt is still breathing. Those actions are disgusting and they're morally reprehensible. Defendant is not a person that can ever be rehabilitated. She's caused generational damage, not only to the Restelli family, to Matthew's children, but her own family as well. She should never be released from prison for taking Matt's life. She continues to pose a danger to society. And honestly, for the amount of destruction that she caused and that she's left these survivors to pick up the pieces, I would ask you to find her to sentence her to all of her charges consecutively.
Thank you. Mr. Facemar, anything in rebuttal?
No, Your Honor, we'll submit.
Did your client wish to address the court formally?
No, Your Honor.
All right. All right. I've got some notes that I want to go through, everybody. I appreciate the eloquent statements from Mr. Restelli's brother and mother. The question before the court is not whether I should sentence you, Ms. Grist, to prison, but whether I should run all or a portion of your charges consecutively or concurrently. Under Utah Code Section 76-3-401, I need to consider several factors when I make that decision. These factors would include, have you been found guilty of more than one felony offense? The answer to that is yes, you're convicted of 5 felonies. I need to look at the gravity and the circumstances of the offenses you were convicted of. In considering this factor, the evidence clearly established, as the jury found, that you were the mastermind behind a plot to kill your son-in-law simply because your daughter did not want to return to California for divorce proceedings. Further, the gravity of your actions cannot be overstated. You were clearly the mastermind in a plot that led to your son-in-law's death, a man who simply thought he was coming to Utah to pick up his wife and children. Aggravating his senseless death was the plot you helped develop to try and make it appear that he was dangerous. He wasn't dangerous. It was your daughter that was convicted of domestic violence, not him. You helped develop a plan with a weapon, and that weapon was not just the firearm that you owned, the 6-hour P365, but a knife that you had apparently taken from a friend of yours in California and brought to Utah to use in a senseless murder. Your actions essentially left your grandchildren as orphans, 2 of your grandchildren as orphans, 2 very young children who are now 5 and 8, who lost their father based upon what I can only find as one of the most senseless crimes I've ever seen in the over 30 years I've been a member of the Utah State Bar and the 12 years I've been a judge. Not only will these children never see their father again, they'll never see their mother again. And that is rightfully so as it pertains to the mother who participated in this plot. You have sentenced your grandchildren and Lucas and Matt's brothers and mother to living a life without their father, their brother, their son. You've sentenced your grandchildren to knowing that their grandmother, their mother, and their uncle deliberately plotted to and successfully killed their father. The negative impact on their lives cannot be overstated. The victim impact statements that we have heard today and that I've read today also clearly detail the impact of your actions on other members of your son-in-law's family. As was stated today, a grandmother is to protect her grandchildren. You did anything but protect them. For somebody that's gone through multiple divorces, it is incomprehensible to this court how and why you didn't counsel your daughter to proceed forth a divorce rather than proceeding forward to a path of murder. So the record is clear. We have as your victims, obviously, Matt Restelli, your 2 young grandchildren, Lucas, your son-in-law's mother, Diane, and his 2 brothers, Paul and Jonathan, and their extended families. Your pre-sentence report shows you have 9 prior convictions. They clearly show you're someone who's experienced with the criminal justice system. When I consider your rehabilitative needs, I find that your danger to the community exceeds any rehabilitative needs that may be available. In this court's view, if you're so callous and uncaring as to plot the death of your son-in-law simply because your daughter did not want apparently to deal with the divorce courts in California, the court has grave concerns that if you were ever released back into the community, that you would take similar actions against those who testified against you in trial or other family members or members of our community for equally baseless reasons that they simply crossed you. Put another way, in the court's view, you're incredibly dangerous, and your character and actions show that any rehabilitative needs are overcome by your willingness to kill simply for you or your children's convenience. I was especially troubled by your denial in the pre-sentence report of your role in this murder. On page 7 of the pre-sentence report, though, we clearly see how carefully you worked in plotting the murder of Matthew Restelli. Your internet history, as you well know, shows that on or about June 7th, 2024, you did a search as to, quote, how old were Dan Marco's kids when Dan was killed? and Katie Magbanua second trial defense charges. On June 16th, 2024, you did a research on the internet for Utah shoot break-in. June 27th, you did search for the American Fork City Cemetery, and on June 28th, the Alpine City Cemetery. Those alone show your ties into this murder plot, but the evidence that the court received in trial, viewed in trial, clearly shows that you are the mastermind behind the murder of your son-in-law. With all these factors and the evidence of what occurred in this case, I find it appropriate that the appropriate sentence to impose is the maximum sentence that I am allowed by law for each count. Therefore, for count 1, criminal conspiracy, a second-degree felony, I sentence you to 1 to 15 years in Utah State Prison. For count 2, murder, a first-degree felony, I sentence you to the maximum term that I am allowed to impose by law of 15 years to life. For count 3, obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony, I once again sentence you to the maximum term I'm allowed to impose by law of 1 to 15 years in prison. For count 4, domestic violence in the presence of a child, the maximum term that I can sentence you to is 0 to 5 years, and I do that. For count 5, domestic violence in the presence of a child, once again, a second count for that, I order you to serve 0 to 5 years in the Utah State Prison. Based upon the factors that I have briefly gone over and the factors that I have read and heard in the victim impact statements, they clearly overcome any letters that I've received and read on your behalf. And I find that it is appropriate that each and every count shall run consecutive to each other. Additional sentencing orders. I'm issuing a continuous protective order. You're to have absolutely no contact, directly or indirectly, with your grandchildren. Mr. Facemeyer, do you accept service of the protective order, or do you wish to have her served at the prison?
I accept service, Judge.
Thank you. I waive the fine as I fully anticipate that you will never be released from prison while you are alive. However, I am imposing a $53 court security fee for each count as required by statute. You'll have to pay that off through your prison commissary or your prison fund benefits. You're also not to have any contact with your co-conspirators, your children, unless allowed by the prison or the state parole board. As required by law, I note that you are given credit for the time you have served towards your sentence since your arrest. Pursuant to the stipulation, I order you to pay restitution amount of $9,700 that will be joint and several. And I'll also hold it open for such future needs that we might have, such as therapy for the children. The court's sentencing minutes that will be sent to the parole board should indicate that this court recommends that you never be considered for parole. In this court's estimation, the evidence from trial clearly has established that you are incredibly dangerous and that the community will never be safe if you are released back into it. That being said, and for your victim's family, I wish them to understand that I have imposed what we call in Utah indeterminate sentences. The state parole board will make the ultimate determination if you'll ever have parole, under what terms and circumstances, and when it shall be. I have run each count consecutive to each other in an effort to show to the parole board how grave I consider your actions are and that you should not be considered for parole, but that'll be up to them. To the victim's family, you will need to talk to the victim's advocate for Utah County. You do have the right to appear at any parole hearing if there's ever one that is determined by the parole board to be appropriate. And any questions regarding that process, they can answer for you. This will be the final order of the court. You have 30 days to appeal this decision of the court and the jury. If you qualify and request the same, a public defender will be appointed to assist you in your appeal. Any questions, Mr. Facemeyer?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Watabe, any questions on behalf of the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We'll be in recess.
All right.